Hi there. My name is Lars-Petter, and I am CPO and co-founder at We Are Learning. And I want to talk about the secret sauce for learning. And to start up, I want to ask a question, and that is who creates digital learning? And of course, instructional designers do. But who are they? And looking into this report that came out just a few weeks back from the e-learning designers academy by Team Slade, it has some really relevant information. So let's start looking at the level of education. So instructional designers, they have a bachelor or master degrees. They have 3 to 4 years of experience. They work in all kind of industries and sectors, and they work largely in medium-sized to large corporate enterprises, which of course is not that maybe surprising. One thing that stood out to me at least was that 86% define themselves as generalists, suggesting that organizations value designers who can handle projects end to end, adapting to varied needs and contexts. So that means that being an instructional designer is not easy, not at all. I mean, in instructional designer, you have to be, of course, the pedagogue, the learning expert, but you also need to be the creative one. Like you also need to be the one that come up with the idea and also master a lot of different ways to create engaging content. But not only that, you also, in most cases, have to be the learning, like the subject matter expert, because you really have to dig deep into whatever you are creating a course for to understand it in order to create a great course. So being an instructional designer is really hard. Okay, so next then, what do they actually do? Well, for the most, they create what we call asynchronous learning. And it makes sense. And they say that in the future, we're going to create more of that. And the same report where Michael Allen is interviewed, he says that asynchronous e-learning remains the preferred training approach because learning is ultimately a personal process. It's anytime, anywhere accessibility allows individuals to engage at their own pace in ways that best fit their needs. Now, then I was super excited to see and learn what tools then instructional designers use to create this asynchronous learning. And the report again shows that number one is actually PowerPoint or Google Slides, followed by Microsoft Word, and then articulate storyline, etc. So creating all this learning is mainly used by PowerPoint. And looking into the report again says that yet too often organizations default to uploading slides or videos with a quiz, an approach that may be easy to build but delivers little lasting impact. And I guess a lot of you guys can kind of relate to that. At least I can after being in this industry for more than 25 years. So let's go a little further because it also says that when we instead design individualized performance-focused experience, learners return to work faster with skills they can immediately apply, driving measurable ROI. Okay. So based on this and my experience from this industry starting up in 1998, and I created, I guess, I don't know, thousands of e-learning courses, worked in communication, in gaming and all that, I have made this ebook that I try to define what I call 6 pro tips to boost your impact as an instructional designers and designer. And the tips are as follows, and I would like to share some kind of voiceover to those different tips. So the first one is starting with the why, and this is all about like defining and working with learning objectives and the importance of it because like this case here on the screen, you see a typical scenario for a customer service situation, and then like let's say you want to create a course about understanding customer service. Well, that's very vague and it's very hard to be precise. But if you said something like, for instance, handling a frustrated customer with confidence, that should be the learning objective. Any staff member should be able, after this course, to actually handle a frustrated customer with confidence. It gives you so much direction in where you want to go in terms of ID, but also what you need to do, right? So going a bit deep dive into a learning objective, you can also say that it's not enough only to, let's say, know about something in this case, should understand it, or should actually be able to perform it in practice. In this case, I wanted to perform. Now, having a learning objective so clearly defined sets out direction for this course, right? Then moving on to the next pro tip is about knowing your learners. And of course, working in large organizations, you probably do know them. But if you're working as a hired gun or in an agency or something to create learning, you really need to deep dive to understand your learners. You can work with personas and really get to know how they learn, what kind of learning they kind of respond best to, in which situation do they actually perform the learning. Is it on the bus with their mobile phone, or is it in an office, really understanding this is very important. Now, moving on to maybe my favorite, because when you have defined your learning objectives and work with that and know your learners, then you can start to find the best method for this course particular. So let's say you want to develop product knowledge. Well, then maybe micro-learning modules with interactive infographics is super. Or let's say you want to reinforce knowledge for some kind, let's say on cybersecurity or whatever, then maybe a gamified quiz will be perfect. But if you want to, let's say, change attitude or working with soft skills, then scenario-based learning is the best approach with branching dialogues. So look at this as a instructional designer's tools, in a way, to use for the best kind of work. Let's say a carpenter has a hammer, but that won't do it if you want to build a house, right? So you need different tools for different purposes. So understanding these different methods is important, but you also need a tool that actually allows you to do all this, right? And maybe that's why PowerPoint is the most used, and that's maybe also why everything is a bit 3 slides with a quiz at the end, because the tools don't allow for more different learning methods. I don't know, but I think that might be the case. Moving on to next one here is how to engage your learners. And it's also super important to be that storyteller, to create content in itself that's interesting. I often say that the most important thing as an instructional designer is to be not boring. Don't be boring. I mean, imagine you were the one to take your course. That means that you have to work with like excitement or humor or whatever it takes to engage your learners, and you have to really work on it, and you have to mix formats. You have to maybe use scenarios, tell stories, start always with action, kind of activate your learners. And then the iterative mindset, because working with creating something, it's hard. It takes time. Even though AI will promise you that you can just click something like prompt and click and you get your course or quiz or whatever, it's not a good thing. It can be helpful in the ideation part or process, but you really need to work with something. So step away from it, go back to it, work, rewrite, recreate, ask for feedback, go back and forth, always try to improve whatever you're working on, and accept the fact that it will take time and a lot of iterations before it's getting perfect to send to your learners. And finally, use AI wisely. Don't get lazy. You can, of course, get everything instant these days, but it's not going to be on target. It's not going to be granular enough. It's not going to be to your learning objectives, to your learners. It's going to be best case, maybe like okay, but you should strive for like greatness, right? So then use AI to help you, but be in charge. Be the director, ask AI for help, but don't kind of accept everything that it throws at you. Be critical when you read through or get something, but then use it to create better learning, not just to create learning faster. I think that's super important. Now, I am CPO and co-founder of We Are Learning, and what we strive for is to create a tool that really allows you guys to use all these different methods to create engaging learning. So check it out on wearelearning.io. And we have also been awarded like the EdTech Breakthrough Award in 24 and also the Authoring Tool of the Year by Training Magazine. So that's it. And, if you didn't figure it out, your secret sauce for learning is the instructional designer. That's the person, that's the That's the secret sauce of creating great, engaging learning. Thank you guys. See ya.